Stirring the stream. Unless Joel can, while he's fixing electric, can phone in.
He has to phone in.
Okay.
All right, let's call the meeting to order. Roll call, I'm here. Alderman Perkins is here and Alderwoman Haderlein is here. So we have a quorum. We are going to call on a committee member to attend electronically pursuant to section 2.05.h, electronic attendance at meeting rule. Joel Kriete. I don't think this has ever happened before.
Not a big one, can't attend.
Okay.
Oh,
Got it.
okay.
Okay,
By Chicago.
all right, so Joel can't attend. We still have a quorum, so let's move on to item 4, public comments. Public comments. Hopefully everyone had a chance to review the minutes of the closed session on May 13th of 2026. Can I get a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the minutes of closed session from May 13th, 2026.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, 3-0. Everyone had a chance to look at the minutes from June 9th of 2026. If so, can I get a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the minutes for June 9th, 2026.
You want a second again? I'll second.
Thank you. All's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed 3-0. Oh, boy. Okay.
We're just burning through this
Hopefully
agenda.
we gotta get mad. All right, so hopefully everyone's had a chance to look at the minutes from June 9th, the closed session minutes from June 9th. If so, can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll approve the closed session minutes of June 9th, 2026.
Second. Tie. We can't talk now.
All right, good.
Jinx.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, those minutes are approved. All right, so we come to item number 8. We're going to discuss the proposal for the 2027 water main improvements. And our city engineer, Gary, is here. Hi.
We were not going to give any type of presentation. The proposal's in the packet. If you have questions, I have John Duddle's group lead here to answer questions. If you have loan questions, payment questions, John is here for that. I can tell you the water mains and services that we plan on replacing are on the exact streets that we're doing for the 2026 road program.
Okay,
So
thank you.
And so the plan is to do them concurrently?
yes,
And so you're going to be ready with both sets of bid documents? I'm
yes.
assuming.
It's
But
a lot of work, a lot of
that's a
man
lot of
hours there,
work.
but
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
We'll bid it as one big package.
Do you anticipate these water main improvements to be more expensive than the road improvements?
Yes.
I don't know if I like that then. I don't know if I like putting them together, because we're going to get, the roadway improvement guy is going to be a subcontractor of the water sewer guy, if you will. I don't know, that makes me a little bit nervous, I guess. Sometimes, in my experience, sometimes you don't always get the best guy. You're going to get you're always going to get the lowest price guy. I'm not saying you aren't, but
They may not be the most qualified for the work
yeah, yeah,
And they're going to have to be denied a pre-qualified contractor.
I know. I understand that. There's a lot of IDOT pre-qualified contractors out there. I wouldn't let fix my driveway.
I acknowledge that statement. But unless you have a valid reason to not accept their bid, if they're IDOT pre-qualified and they're the low bidder.
I understand that. Would you anticipate, one's got to happen before the other.
Yeah, I think the water main would happen first.
So I guess that's the other thing I'm somewhat concerned about is if they get held up, that's going to push the other it could push the other into late fall, which, placing asphalt in late fall is not always a great idea, but sometimes we have to. So those are my concerns.
It's a valid concern. There's a lot of work to do. There was a lot of work to do with the road program, and now put this on top of it. We haven't looked at a water main schedule yet, but we were looking, springish letting. That's could be pushed a little bit. There were safeguards we could put in special provisions, like phasing the street program, or phasing the program perhaps to not open up a street if it's a certain time frame, so that it's not left open, or so they're not paving late. But there's a lot
The
of...
other thing we might run into
lot of
too,
work.
though, is once again, if they're running late with the project and they got to get the street open, so they're going to want to, put in some temporary pavement or something.
Yeah, they could put binder down and then save surface for spring. But, if you do it the other way, where you're doing two separate projects, now you have to wait for all of the water main to be done. And you're gonna have a lot of patches, which is something you're gonna have to pay for that you wouldn't pay for if you did it together. There's gonna be a lot of temporary material, I think, that would be put in from the water main job that could be wasted from the road when you get to the roadway job. So I think economically, it's better to do them all at once. But I guess that's what we're here to talk about, John.
Well, that's what I'm talking about, I guess. Economically, you are probably correct. And I guess that's my position here. That's where I got to think about is economically.
But also, with your knowledge, is it going to be done correctly, though?
Yeah.
That's, that's what I'm looking at as well. I don't want to, 2 years later, opening up that road again because there's a water main leak.
And that's truly the crux of this is, while we have access to the IEP loan and things like that, we have the road program going on. Does it make sense for this body to decide to replace the water main and the services at the same time? Historically, these aren't terribly troubled areas, but in a lot of these streets, we're going to be doing a full reconstruction. There's going to be a lot of equipment moving around on top of it. We're going to have lead service lines that are discovered. Is this something that this body wants to bear now, or, kind of do the streets and see what happens?
My question is, because I don't remember, and we probably did, but I couldn't find it again. Do we have the big study of all the water main? Like
a water model?
Yeah, because we did that, a year or two ago, we did that whole study?
We're doing a sanitary model right now, or a sanitary sewer SSES.
But I thought we also voted on to do a water main one as well, study to see where our trouble ones were at.
That's in this,
The current budget?
we're doing a hydraulic model in this budget.
This current one? So do we really need to replace these, or they just need to be lined, which is cheaper to extend the life?
Gary, what's the feasibility of lining?
I think the last thing you want is to spend $3.5 million on roads just to have a,
No, I mean like line, cured in place.
we'd have to see what year they were installed. There's also some that are only 4 inch, so we're gonna do, as part of that contract, we're gonna be doing water modeling.
Yes.
Just see
Well, yeah,
what upsizing does to the pressures, which we're anticipating anything smaller than 6 is gonna be upsized.
okay. I understand. I just know this is expensive because look at Woodstock with 50 million they had to pay to put all that new stuff in, because state's not paying for that. So I know how expensive this is gonna get. I'm just trying to figure out where we get this from in our budget.
Do you know how old they are?
So we need to talk about that as well as the
50 to
funding.
100.
So in front of you, you have an email, and that's from John Duddles, who's also from Christopher Burke, and he's here to help us talk about that as well. The engineering costs in the proposal, is that, can we use the 7.5 loan for that?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
so essentially with the IEPA loan, you have to front design engineering, and then once you apply for your loan, get your loan, your first construction payment, after that is paid, then we submit for reimbursement, which will get 100% of your design costs reimbursed, and then obviously the first construction payment, and then consequential construction payments will submit for reimbursement directly following those disbursements, so, or once you pay the contractor.
Okay, so, and then it's my understanding that because we requested 7.5, we don't have to take it all.
You don't have to take it all, but when I talked to the EPA today, so essentially you're getting 30% principal forgiveness, so that's essentially a grant. You do not have to pay back. So if you were to reduce it to a total of 5 million, you would only get 30% of 5 million as your principal forgiveness, so that you won't get the 2.275 if you drop your total loan amount down.
And we won't know the cost of this project until after you do the estimates, correct?
Yeah, once we get the estimate, and then they essentially, they don't write the loan until after you bid it out, and they get the actual construction cost. And like I said, you can back out of the loan all the way up until, essentially, once you bid out the contract, you could obviously, the way the specs are written, they're good for 90 days, because the EPA takes a decent amount of time to process them with the contracts and the loan documents. So essentially, you've got time after the bid to possibly, if it comes in for some reason higher than what's budgeted, you can obviously trim stuff down, and then obviously submit for a loan amount lower than what you can afford. And that, obviously, once that's processed, then you're tied into that final loan agreement, which when they send them out, you have like 7 to 10 days to execute that loan agreement.
So then the other discussion, while you're here, that we need to have is the lead line, the lead service line replacement. And if we, do you want to pull up the amortization schedule?
Sure.
If we were to take the full loan amount with the principal forgiveness, our payment would be 188 on that 40-year loan. We have just paid off our 2016 bond, which was for well 10 improvements, freeing up $125,000 a year, and we will be paying the balloon payment on the land expansion for the plant in March, which will free up another $58,800, which gives us $183,800. So it's close if we use, if we were to take the full loan amount. However, that being said, the lead service line loan, we don't have an answer on that, correct?
So, yeah, when I talked to him, I asked him about that too. So essentially, you're 30 points, you scored 30 points lower than what the cutoff was for principal forgiveness. I talked to them, so they recommended that we submit the loan application as soon as we can, obviously, and we would request principal forgiveness once the bypass period hits on January 1st. Because then, by that time, obviously, they're obviously ready, willing to give 0% to anyone that wants it, but you obviously are close enough to score with principal forgiveness where I know there are some projects that have principal forgiveness that cannot use the entire amount that they've got funds reserved for. So that may, after December 31st, those funds, if they're not, have a letter of commitment from the IEPA, those funds can obviously be requested and allocated to the ones that are on the list, which you are under the list for principal forgiveness that's been exhausted. So that could possibly get you sometime in January, February, knowing that you could possibly get principal forgiveness for the lead services for construction in 27.
And that's complete forgiveness for lead lines, or?
Yeah, that would be complete forgiveness. It would all, I think, depend on what they would have available. So, I mean, and how you would score. So most of them were the maximum amount. I think City of Chicago was getting 4 million a piece. The max forgiveness was 4 million. And I think our submission, what was that?
It's typical, Chicago usually gets it.
So between the two, it was 3.6 and 3.6.
Yeah, so we have 3.6, so that could be possibly all principal forgiveness.
Well, that was 3.6 for each of the phases.
Each of the phase.
So
it's
the
four
first
phases.
phase you have up would be eligible for principal forgiveness.
So the
So
four
we would-
phases would be 15 million.
So we wouldn't know that though until after January
Yeah.
1st. So if we committed to this now, it's possible if we didn't get the lead lines that we would have to come up with a funding source for that.
Yeah, funding source for repayment, which your repayment for that goes the same way like the water main loan. All you have to do is front design engineering. Once your first construction payment, you get your design engineering and your first construction payment back. Then repayment does not start until we actually close out the project. So even similar for this, that's why the repayment date of January 1st, 28, it would, even if for some reason construction pushed through 27 and into early 28, your first repayment would not begin until we're completely closed out with the contract and all funds have been paid to the contract and you've been all reimbursed. So your repayment obviously triggers on that. So I don't know if that has any bearing on with the financial, with any funding that would open up for repayment, but you don't have to start repaying until the project's 100% complete, already paid, and then you get all your reimbursements back from that.
And phase one gets us, right now, how many do we think we have?
1,300 lead services out of 2,800.
And they're,
Then there's about 700 still unknown.
And the 1,300 is majorly,
I was saying, yeah, please, Rob.
the 1,300 number is majorly because we don't know. When we were told to turn in an inventory, anything that we didn't know has to be assumed lead. So the vast majority of the 1,300 is unknown, but because it's unknown, we have to assume lead. I think so far, we've identified 15 lead lines in like 450 responses, and I think about 60 galvanized. So, however you want to work the percentages, of about 450, it's been a little bit since I looked at it, but of the 450 or so respondents, we have 15 lead and about 60 galvanized. The rest were copper or plastic.
And I think that also goes on the assumption that your lead services, for the older mains, the 4 and 6 inch mains, those are lead guaranteed from the B box to the main. That's where the high numbered assumption. So it may not be necessary, it may be lead from the B box to the main, but from the main into the home may be copper. So.
And we have found some galvanized downstream from copper, but we don't know, that's, one of the city employees, we had some work that was getting done in front of their house, and they had galvanized on their side, and we got down to the B box, and it was copper on our side. So I don't know if there was a water main replacement that went through, some years ago, but that's more of the exception than the rule. Generally speaking, if we do run into galvanized, we will find lead on our side.
on the proposal, Gary, the 400 units, the 200 private locations, 200 public locations of lead service, that's what's in that area that we're replacing, or that we're proposing to replace?
Yeah, those are all the services that are connected, obviously, to the existing mains we'll be replacing. And then I did run the check for, I think you possibly would qualify for the hardship rate, which is 1%, because you qualify for the population, and then I believe because your rates exceed, your annual user charge exceeds a percentage of the median household income, I believe you would qualify for 1%. Do you remember when you did your wastewater stuff, did you qualify for a hardship rate back then? Okay, so then you most likely would qualify again. So that would be 1%, so there you see some savings in that.
Because that's based on 1.8?
Yeah.
1.83. As low as 0.83% on that.
So you would obviously pay 1% on the hardship. And obviously 0 on the lead service line, so.
So what would it look like if we waited until January to find out where we landed on the lead service? Before we decided what to do with this?
Well, you won't be constructing it in 27 if we don't start immediately.
And the loan, we have a timeline on the loan that we applied for?
Yeah, we would, so once we would, as part of this, we would submit the loan application, because you have to submit your loan application before January 1st, or you'll go into bypass for your 2.2 million in forgiveness. So you'd have to submit for the loan for the water main. Just the application, that doesn't tie you to anything. You submit for the loan application, you get your letter of commitment, and then we could do design. With doing the design, if something does, if there is a financial hardship or whatever, if we have it designed and ready to go and permitted, if it falls into then the 2028 fiscal year for IEPA, you would score higher again, and it would roll over where you could still possibly get that funding again. So that scores more points to have obviously designed, permitted, and they want to see the readiness of the project. So that would help obviously in the next intended use plan. So if that's the case, it would be advantageous to obviously get the design done, ready, permitted, just in case. And if you can't, then obviously you trim it back to what the city can afford and things like that. And obviously you don't want to be digging up streets after you resurface them. Obviously, I know that's the key issue, so.
Reconstruct them.
So I think from staff's perspective, the biggest issue is, how do we manage funding all of the debt service? So if council remembers, in the current infrastructure payment of $35 does not even meet the debt service for the IEPA loan for the wastewater treatment plant. It's short about 80K, I think, about 80.
70 now.
70, 80K. So that money has to come out of the current user funding that we have, or maintenance funding. So we already have a shortfall in managing our debt service. This one, at the first loan to do all these roads, as you can see, if we get the 1% forgiveness, then I think it will close the gap, because it's only a 3K or so difference short. But in the end, it may ultimately, especially if we continue on with these other lead line phases and don't get any forgiveness, council's going to have to raise rates in order to manage that debt service. So you need to be, understand, eyes wide open, that, it may create some hardship for managing this proprietary fund. So those are some of our concerns from a financial perspective, is making sure that we can manage the debt. I don't disagree that it makes sense to do all the work while we've got the roads and reconstructing them. That, is common sense, right? The road's already torn out. We can replace all new infrastructure. We have adopted a complete streets resolution, so it makes sense to do all of that while it's already open. But it is going to tap any future funding we have available to service this debt. And then we still have all this lead line that we have to deal with after the fact. So we don't have a funding source for additional loans. That's our concern.
And the lead service line is mandated.
Right, so that's mandated. We can't not do it. This, for the streets, makes sense to do, but there's not a mandate to do it.
Yeah, your mandate starts November 1st, 2027, that you have to replace 10% of your services a year. And I've already talked to the EPA, if you don't meet that amount, they will issue violations, unfortunately.
But
If you
it's 10% of the lead.
10% of your lead services. So if you
Okay.
have 2,000 services, you have to do 200 a year.
If you
If you
have
rep-
2,000 lead services,
Yes,
sorry, Gary.
Yes.
Okay.
Only lead.
Right now, we have 15.
Yeah, so,
Well, but galvanized in the house, so galvanized downstream from lead is treated as lead because galvanized can take on lead elements. So essentially, right now,
Okay.
we have
We
somewhere
have
in
75.
like 85, because,
Okay.
60, and I can get better numbers, those are
Okay.
general numbers, but, so you're talking at that, I think, depending on where they're at,
Okay.
if these houses are on Route 14, Route 173, then that becomes really expensive. I think a lead, or a service line replacement right now on the private side alone is somewhere between $5,000 and $10,000, and then once you get into the street, you're talking about a street cut, paving, curb, so it gets costly quick, I think, what do you guys see in other communities, like 12?
yeah, a full service replacement now is anywhere from 13 to 15,000. Private side is 8 to 10. Public side's been lower because you're either incorporating them into a water main improvement project, or there's some water mains are in the parkway where you're not having that pavement restoration. So, and your lead service lines are gonna be on those older 4 and 6s too, where that's gonna be, that's the whole point of, you don't wanna we don't wanna be replacing old lead services off old mains and tapping the old mains with the new copper services. Because we've seen that with other clients, we don't recommend it, and we get water main breaks the next day.
So question, so with the work on these 4 streets, with the water lines, would any lead issues be taken care of when that is
Yes.
done on the streets?
That's a requirement, so
And
if.
so that
if-
would count towards our 10%?
Yes,
Okay.
Right, so like if we disturb the water line at all, so like
Yeah.
water main, we'd be disturbing the service, the WIP on the city side, so
Mm-hmm.
we'd have to. You're mandated, or you have to come up with an excuse why it's not feasible. And
Okay.
the IPA stops caring after a certain amount.
Okay.
So can I ask John a question in front of all of you? If you have to replace 10% of your lead lines per year, starting on that date, if in the first year you replace 20%, can you not do any the following year? Because it still averages 10%?
I haven't asked the EPA that yet, and because the mandate is not essentially, or your mandatory replacement hasn't started yet, so I'm sure there's gonna be communities that will have that.
I'll make a motion, put that in motion.
No overachievers.
Right, so if we end up doing 20% as a result of doing this work, that would give us additional 2 years
Yeah.
of compliance, right?
I just don't see the state doing that.
But the reverse of that is then you municipalities say, we don't have any money to do it, we're gonna do 100% on year 9.
Right.
And I'm sure they're gonna say, no, you're
No.
not.
Yeah.
Right.
And
You can't kick the can
Yeah,
down.
exactly.
No.
And for these areas, there's a high probability that a lot of the streets, or a lot of the houses on Lincoln Street are gonna be lead. McKinley, I wouldn't be so convinced. Second Street, there's a good chance that those will be lead. You're gonna capture a fair amount, but,
Washington,
yeah,
Yeah.
Washington.
yeah. That's part of the old part of town. I mean,
I mean, the lead lines are great. They're extremely malleable. They don't break. They
Yeah.
don't corrode. They shift with rock and dirt. Like, they're fantastic. They just have that one
just really bad for
tricky
you.
little problem
Yeah.
where they
Yeah.
leach lead into the water.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Is doing this going to increase the cost of the other? And by that, I'm just saying that some of, well, let's say, I don't know what the hell, Lincoln. Some of Lincoln, we weren't going to do a full reconstruct on, right? But if we're putting the water mains in, then we're kind of, why wouldn't we?
Were there any streets that we weren't reconstructing besides Iona and Ninth?
Second Street, there's gaps.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
There's
Yeah, there
parts
were a couple
of
blocks that were
Lincoln.
just recently
Yeah.
resurfaced. Yeah, that's good call there, John.
So we would be doing work we don't necessarily need to do by digging it up.
So for those, we would, if they're in the street, we would have to patch.
So I think for the most part, we're touching everything as far as like a surface goes. So in those areas, it might have to be, trench, dug, binder, surface with the rest of it. But I know there are some spots, I think parts of Second Street that aren't even touched at all, and I think that one block of Lincoln that's not touched at all. So in those areas, there would be, a trench.
Well, hopefully the bids come back, we have some money, we can resurface those. Because I hate to have the whole street look good, except for this little piece, that we got a little bit of a patch there, and, maybe we could at least resurface there.
Anything is
But-
possible with money and time.
Keep in mind, the original road program for Second Street specifically, there were 2 blocks that were recently resurfaced. We weren't going to do anything with those anyways, other than perhaps sidewalks. So those
Yeah.
would have been, those would have been left alone. Granted, with water main, you will have a patch down the middle.
Right.
But I see your point that you're saying, if
What we're
bids
gonna
come in good, why not do a thin mill and
Were we gonna do
resurface?
curbs on those too, or no?
No, those we already did as part of the sidewalk program. So those got curb and gutter already with the resurface that happened years ago.
Okay.
Well, I favor doing this. I mean, it's
It's kind of a no-brainer.
It's,
It's
there's
just
the
managing
funding.
the debt service, that's all.
Right, but if we're gonna start doing things right, like with this whole road program, this whole new concept, it's like this is an opportunity to,
Where's the funding coming from?
well, Deb explained where the debt service comes
So
from.
most of it's gonna come when we have to raise, I bet you 90%, we're gonna have to raise the maintenance costs again, and since we haven't done anything in 2 years since the 1%, everyone's gonna be ticked off that we're raising that again.
Yeah, but one doesn't really have anything to do with the other, does it?
Right,
But it does to a point because they say you just keep raising things and you're not fixing anything in this town. This road program has been delayed, we haven't even, and hopefully I'm still here for new business, because we still have to talk about when we're gonna start actually doing sidewalks again. Because that's another issue that we have put away for the last 3-4 years. And the tornado sirens as well,
Uh,
because everywhere else has tornado sirens, and they use them.
we're not talking about that.
I know, but I'm talking about, I might not be here at new business, because I have to leave in 20 minutes.
Right, but that doesn't mean you can just open up a new discussion.
I know, I understand, but I'm just saying, so the funding, is going back to that, is the people, you gotta remember the people as well, who elected you in this spot. You gotta have to remember that we keep raising everything, everything keeps getting raised.
Okay. So this is,
And we've been wasting our money on other things that we shouldn't have been wasting. We should have been doing maintenance 4 or 5 years ago. And I've been on that part, but of course, unfortunately, I've been voted out many times when I brought that up. So we keep kicking the can down the road, and this is what's happening. Because we also want to do these big projects of stuff that we don't need. So I'm just concerned because we're gonna have to raise again the water bill thing. And we are pretty high for our water bill compared to everywhere else. even with the 2 monthly thing, because if you look at monthly, yes. No one else has the maintenance costs as much as us. Maybe the unit cost is more than ours, but not the maintenance and all that other stuff.
Well, I feel like with our water bill and with the new wastewater plant, I mean, that was just the reality, and we inherited.
We had to do that for the EPA.
Yeah, I mean, we inherited a bad situation. Years of councils kicked cans down the road, lots of cans. And that place was just sort of held together by gum and shoelaces or something. I don't know. I don't know how Jim Grant kept it operating.
Wire and duct tape.
Exactly. And I feel like if you talk to folks, they understand that. I mean, you have to pay for it eventually. We're trying to do the roads properly. We're trying to do a good job with them, but knowing how old our infrastructure is under the roads, I mean, that we've got water lines that are, could be 100 years or more old, under some of those roads. You know, here's an opportunity to get it right, to do it correctly, and where
I don't disagree, Lisa.
but from a debt standpoint, a debt service standpoint, it sounds like, I mean, I'd like to see the numbers, but it sounds like if what Deb described, it sounds like we're going to have those funds for debt service, that we're going to be very close to what we need. The numbers are going to come down a little if we can get the 1%. And I feel like we need to do this.
And then the other thing just to consider with this is at this moment, the IEPA has approved over $2 million in forgiveness.
Yeah.
I thought we just said we weren't the forgiveness. We didn't make it.
Well, the 30%.
No, that's on the lead, there's two separate funding pots. You've got water main funding pot and your lead service line funding pot. You've got 2.2 million in grant forgiveness for the water main. You don't have any forgiveness right now as of today for lead service line only.
What gives you forgiveness? How broke do you have to be for a
Median
city?
household, it's for lead service, median household income, age of the homes, there's like 6 different categories how they score it. We've got it broken down, so census tracts, so parts of the town that have census tracts that score better than the others. So the ones that we put in, it obviously didn't score high enough, but we can always keep adjusting that and putting those in every year. Since we did the IEPA project plan, we can keep submitting for funds every year in different areas and things like that. And I have the updated debt service for 1% is $162,000 a year.
And that's for 20, 30.
That's for 40 years. You'll get 40 years on any loan you take out.
Amortize over 40 years, but is a repayment 40 years?
Yes.
Yes.
It is, okay.
Yeah.
So then that puts us clearly within the.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we have a little left over. 20 grand left over.
We had a few more houses and we have more users and we'll see additional
but if-
revenue, so.
Okay, but if we do this time, we can't keep doing this. And we have, right? We just can't.
I know, yeah.
So, I mean, we're picking 4 streets out of the whole town to do this on, and the rest of the town, we say, we don't have the money, right?
It's a 40-year commitment.
Right.
For this, so this is only for this is only for, so it's gonna be, how much total is these 4 roads? Is it right here, this 27 million?
No,
No, 7.7.
7.5, the first.
So what, I don't, all this is everything.
7.585.
Well, this is what we're talking, this is the loan that we've got a page for right here. And then with the forgiveness, with the 30%, it's around 5 million, John?
Yeah.
5.5.
Yeah,
So we would
5.3 million for your loan would be.
Our loan, we would get this, but our loan would be 30% forgiven.
But also remember, with your question about
The rest of it.
just these 4 streets, it won't be, when we go in and submit your next funding nomination form, you will be going through and finding, obviously, the next streets that hopefully coincide with your road program to get the same thing, IEP funding for that, and then your road funding pot for the road work. So this is gonna happen the next 5 years, where this is gonna have be a constant funding mechanism, and hopefully we'll get locations where it's gonna score high enough where you'll still get principal forgiveness with the water mains that'll offset some of the costs that you're gonna bear to do the water mains under your streets before you reconstruct them.
The other thing with this too is if we continue to do economies of scale for the road program, as we discussed, we did the 1 year of a lot of projects. Next year, we're doing, we're doubling up the MFT money. Then the following year, we're just using MFT money. So we have, 5-year gaps where we are, big projects, smaller maintenance, big projects. So there's going to be kind of a cyclical thing to this as well.
Yeah.
If this body decides to keep doing that.
So what action do we need tonight?
What action we do tonight? Sorry.
So
I was
if we
just
were to proceed with
contemplating.
this, I believe it's the request of the engineers to have this signed and approved sooner rather than later because of the timeline that we're looking at. So if you wanted to
Looking for the
proceed.
600,000, basically?
Yeah.
And that's gonna be reimbursed too?
That's reimbursable through the $7.5 million
Yes.
loan, and we would front that out of capital improvement, which currently has $2.5 million. Roughly.
Well, I'd make a motion that we approve going forward with the water main improvement phase 1 engineering
2.3 million.
cost.
I'll correct
What's it?
myself, 2.3.
Okay. With the $595,040.
And when is this gonna be ready?
Good question.
I'm not making, yeah, when is it, not a good question. If we wanna put this out with the
We
road
already have the survey.
program, when does this have to be ready?
We've already, since, the good thing is that we already have the survey from the road program, so it'll be relatively quick to put the design and get it into IPA for permitting. As long as the EPA really wants you to they send a reminder letter March 31st saying, what's your timeline, are you going out for bid? So we'll have it out for bid hopefully anywhere between January and March to meet their timeline for the loan as well as obviously make the 27 construction season, so. But we don't have to do all that field work to go do the survey and everything, that's already done, so we have all that data, that's why we can get moving a lot quicker and expedite this.
I think Treasurer's having a heart attack behind me. He's the project engineer on these.
So when other people make promises for you?
It's all job
Mike
security.
Gretzky, who was a project engineer, he's out of the country this week, so he doesn't have to hear this. Yeah, so a lot of man hours on both these projects, but that's what we'll do.
Make a motion?
I did.
You have a motion, you need a second.
I'll second.
You need a roll call.
We'll need a roll call for this. Alderman Perkins?
Yes.
Alderwoman Haderlein?
Yes?
Alderman Lavallee? Yes. 3-0, motion carries to go forward.
We'll send it to city council for final.
Oh, I'm sorry, I just had to say council. Don't go forward yet. Don't go forward yet.
So it'll be on the,
Oh, if
25th.
you want to do it on your own time, have at it. It's up to you. Okay, let's move on to item number 9, discussion action on sewer water capital improvement project items.
Excuse me, Alderman, so that's going to be on August's
Correct.
city council meeting?
25th.
Thank you.
Yep.
2 weeks. We got no money for this. Move on.
Actually, he's going to save us some money, so
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
let's hear it.
Yep.
Let's hear it.
Yep.
Is this what I need?
Yes,
It's working?
it is.
Yeah, so I was looking at the budget
John.
for,
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Thank you.
for this budget year, and, there was, $100,000 that was budgeted for pivot, davit cranes that wanted to be mounted on the oxidation ditch. And rather than do that, I'd rather save that money and not, degrade the concrete of the oxidation ditch or, drill anything into that concrete, especially since those davit cranes are pretty much, hopefully, knock on wood, are gonna sit there most of the time. I have called, Skyline Crane in, Hebron, and they're roughly around just under $2,000 to rent a crane for the day. So if we did have some work that needed to be done, we could have that crane come out and pull something for us, rather than spend this kind of money on davit cranes will probably be sitting there, most of the time. So for me, I
How
think
often do you have to pull the motor?
It was told to us that we needed them.
Yeah, because
we had to-
we pull them all the time.
We wanted to pull them to, do the maintenance that was required on them and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, there was a motor that went out on the ditch, and Domi Mechanical came out and they did pull the motor. I do think that that was $20,000. I think that they charged us to pull the motor, to repair the motor, and put the motor back. I believe that we can get a gantry system up onto the ditch, and our own maintenance guys can take the motor off. We could hook it up to the gantry system. We could pull it over
Are
to the
they
ditch.
trained with that and everything?
Are they trained with the gantry system?
Yes.
We can
Because you
get them
gotta remember liability if something happens.
Sure. I mean,
OSHA.
the
They-
plant.
If I can jump in here, the gantry cranes are, it's not OSHA like a forklift or anything like that, as long as they're following safe practices, hard hats, harnesses, all that stuff. It should be something that the staff can do in-house.
Yeah, so that's what I was looking at. I just think that we can save that money rather than have those davit cranes sit there most of the time.
So at $2,000 a pop, you'd have to pull it 50 times to offset the cost of the capital purchase.
That's correct.
What's the likelihood that you would pull something 50
Let's hope we don't
times?
have to find out about that
That would be
likelihood, but
pretty significant.
yeah. And even if I know that there was big aspirations about pulling these aerators for these ditches, but I really don't think we want to have our staff pulling these aerators. They need to be laser lined when they put them back in, when they change out bearings. I just think that's more, if we do that work, it's not going to be warranted. That's going to be it. And then we'll have to pull it again. So rather than have our staff do something like that, I would rather have a professional come in, laser line it, put it back in, and be done with it. That's the aerators themselves. The motors for the aerators, we could use the gantry system. We could pull it over, have Domi come out. If they need to fix the pump or motor, then they can do that, and I think it'll be cheaper for us.
So the reason I asked Director Rangel to put this on the agenda is in the past, we have been authorized and we have budgeted for projects that we didn't complete, and it was questioned down the road, so we're asking it this time that this be pulled from the project list based on his information that he's provided, and get approval from you for doing that.
Well, I'll make a motion. Just hopefully, I'll probably be long gone when we figure out if it doesn't work or not, so.
We all will be. Well, except that.
Yeah.
So how do you want me to make the motion, Mayor? Say I'm pulling the
I
100,000?
think that what you would state is, make a motion to, remove the 4 hoist gear drives from the 26-27 budget.
Yeah, we wouldn't necessarily need an amendment. We could leave the line item as is, and then if another project came up within this fiscal year, we could bring it back to committee, or we just leave the money where it's at and use it down the road. So it would just be to pull that project.
All right. Well, that was my motion, what the mayor said. Thank you.
I'll second that.
All right, we got a motion on the floor to do what the mayor said.
Just to be clear, that's to remove the 4 hoist gear drives from the 26-27 budget,
Capital improvement.
capital improvement.
Alderman Perkins,
Yes.
Alderwoman Haderlein,
Yes.
Alderman Lavallee, yes. All right, we'll move 4 hoist gear drives from budget. 26, 27. $100,000.
Okay.
All right, $100,000.
That's found $100,000. All right.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is discuss items for the quarterly check-in meeting with the engineer. Okay, there's a meeting, next week,
Tuesday.
right, with staff and Gary, to talk about, what we got going on, basically. Does anybody have anything they want to add to the agenda of that meeting?
I mean, with that, will we get something kind of rundown after the meeting, where everything stands for all these projects we've done the last 5 years, or probably longer now?
Yeah, a report is provided, and then we usually put that in the packet
Put it in a-
after the meeting.
After the meeting next week, I will prepare the quarterly report that lists all the project and where we're at with them, and that'll be in the
So
city
the
council.
same one that you normally put in?
Yes,
Okay,
it'll be updated from that meeting.
okay.
I think tonight's purpose was to see if there's anything new that
We
you
just
either
thought-
wanted to bring up, or if there was a specific
How
project
about the
that you couldn't wait.
timeline of the bridge on Marengo Road? Is that gonna work?
Yes, right now, the roadway plans are complete and into IDOT. They've gone through Schaumburg review and Springfield review, and it will be on the September letting. The bridge the pre-final plans have been submitted to IDOT, and that is going to be a January letting. So regardless of whether it's a September letting or a January letting, the road can't be closed until school is out of session. So both sets of bid docs will state that the detour can only be in effect from May till August, with the specific dates that coincide with the school calendar.
All
So
right.
to answer your question, yes.
Okay, because it's gonna be tough making this winter through that road. And one more year of the road, so I know we won't be able to do 2. That
Yeah,
road.
we just, ever since we found out that bridge is suspect, we've had to do 6-month inspections. And we just did one last Monday. And although there is a little bit additional deterioration, it's nothing that would make us move to
Close
a
it.
more severe
Yeah.
load rating.
Okay,
So the next inspection would be February, and that would be the last one, because come May, it's going to be closed and reconstructed.
I'll be happy when that's done. Because I feel like I have to hold one of these like this. I'll be happy when that's done because IDOT keeps randomly inspecting the bridge and the signage for the limit, and they come up with new stuff all the time. Even though they saw the signage and we put everything we put on there, I feel like once every year they come back and they're like, oh, by the way, you need a 1/3 mile ahead over here. Oh, by the way, you need a 1/4 mile ahead over here. And they're custom signs that take forever for me to get.
I'm glad they haven't narrowed the bridge yet.
I always drive in the middle of that thing.
It's fine.
It's not that big of a drop.
It's a small creek.
Yeah.
Get a new truck out of it.
So nobody else had anything for the meeting?
Is Charlie going to be there?
He does not have knowledge until now, so.
Okay.
He might be.
Well, because doesn't he put it all together?
Yes, he does,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So which is really cool.
Okay, let's move on to item 11. Do we have, anybody got anything for strategic vision? Don't think so. Nope. All right, new business. You're still here.
Yeah, I got enough time. Any word with the tornado sirens?
So we actually were contacted by a company that had seen our presentation from Sheboygan, and they asked if they could also do a package for us, which we agreed, figuring it wouldn't hurt to have another company show us what they had to offer. We received that package about a little over a week ago. I haven't had time to review it and to compare it, to bring it back to committee where I feel I have the full scope of the knowledge. So Alderman Lavallee did want to put it on this agenda. I asked him if we could wait until the next meeting in order to take care of that.
Okay. And then, just like I brought up earlier, are we gonna start talking about the sidewalks again for next budget? Because that's coming up fiscal year. We're gonna start planning on that. Sorry, August. And if we go every other month, it's gonna be October, so we're getting close to doing.
Do we have any money for sidewalks for this fiscal year?
We got $10,000 in stopgap funding, so we've been doing 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s. We've been replacing, we have a cement mixer that we've been making our own cement, or we've been making our own concrete from different types of aggregate.
Making your own cement, I say.
Yeah. I caught myself. You haven't seen the stacks behind Public Works? No, so we've been maximizing our funding and kind of the ability to do that because we use our, aggregate that we have at the shop with a couple bags of cement. We mix it on site. It's not exactly the easiest thing in the world, but it does get the job done, and we don't have to wait. Historically, I was getting 10 yards of concrete over like 11 locations, and by the time we were done with that, there's bodies everywhere, guys stranded without trucks. So it's been working out pretty decent.
How big a mixer do we have?
What's that?
How big, what's the?
Crown, toe behind.
Is it like a quarter yard, a half yard?
Yeah, it's enough that one drum's worth does 1 square.
Perfect.
So.
That's pretty small.
Yeah, it is small. I think if we were to want to go to a more broad system where we're doing this in-house, they do make attachments to like a skid steer. So where you can just drive into the pile, grab your aggregate, and then, it mixes it in the bucket, and then you can just dump it out. Because right now, the guys are loading the drum manually with 5-gallon buckets. So, a bunch of 5-gallon buckets of rock, a bunch of 5-gallon buckets of sand, and then bags of concrete,
And you're
or bags of cement. Yeah. So it works.
Yeah.
And, it's what we have, and we're getting it done. So we're doing that. We did some over by East Brown, over by Little John. We did some stuff. We're doing the little 1s and 2s, the spots where it sank and it needs to be fixed. Then also, we're doing sidewalk. We had the removal of the oil tanks on Johnson Street. So that's all formed up, but that's going to be like a 5-yard pour. So we're going to do that with a truck. So we are doing sidewalk, not in a grand scheme, but, also, with the road program, having all that sidewalk addressed at the same point in time, that'll help out as well.
Yeah, I mean, I figured the roads, that's a lot of sidewalks we're
Yeah.
gonna get. All at once with the roads. I mean, McKinley.
But I guess Alderman, are you looking for, we used to have like
Program.
50K or 75K or something like that?
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll have to look to do that starting in the next.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Budget
It's
cycle.
getting close to that. We got,
Okay, noted,
thank you.
you bet. Any other new business?
Just an update on, we are still good to go for September 14th for the patching and hot place over on Timber. That's still all good to go there. And then update on the salt. We are going out to bid for salt. I prepared the MFT documents and submitted them to IDOT, or I will submit them to IDOT tomorrow so that we have a 3-week posting, and then the letting will be August 28th. I've talked to a couple of salt contractors, and they said that going out on our own is going to be preferential to staying in the emergency bid, but we will probably, budgeted like $75 a ton, and I think the prices I've been getting are anywhere from $130 to $140 a ton. So I also did reduce our amount. Normally we get about 550. I reduced our amount to 300. I'd hope that this levels off next year, but I certainly don't want to buy a full allotment while the market's high, but I also don't want to leave us without either.
Might be time to look at beet juice.
Juice, yep.
Well, hopefully they're right about El Nino this year.
Okay, thank you. Motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, we're adjourned.
I know.
These kids sitting there on
Yeah.